Have you ever wanted something that absolutely made no practical sense, but deep down it meant something to you? It's not the thing itself, but what it represented. Joy, freedom, permission. A moment you knew that you would remember. My story on this is about a time that I walked into the Chanel store in Paris, fully intending not to buy the bag, not to buy the bag. Yeah, and then I bought the bag. And honestly, I haven't regretted it for 1 second because this story is not really about the handbag. It's about permission. And if you're a woman in midlife who has spent years being responsible and practical and careful and focused on everyone else, well, this episode is going to ask you one simple question. What is your version of that Chanel bag? Hi there. Welcome back to You Can Emerge Positive. I'm Deanne, and I work with women who are in midlife and help you realize it is not too late and show you the pathway forward with confidence, clarity, and intention. And today's episode is going to be a fun one. It's based on something that I wrote a couple of years ago after my first trip to Paris. And when I shared this story back then, I received so many emails from women who had their own version of the story. Maybe it wasn't a Chanel bag, but it could be a trip. One woman wrote about a piece of jewelry, one did a vacation home, or a dream. It was a moment when they finally said, you know what? I'm doing this. So today I want to tell you the story, but more importantly, I want to talk about what it means to stop postponing joy. Because sometimes, and especially in midlife, we have to relearn how to give ourselves permission to what we really want. So I've always loved fashion. As a teenager, I loved flipping through all the magazines and looking at new trends, all the clothes. I worked at a clothing store. I loved everything about it, especially the accessories. I loved scarves. I wore them all through high school, and honestly, they are totally still my thing. Like I throw on a t-shirt and a scarf, and I feel like I have an outfit pulled together. And then, then there are purses. Some women have a shoe thing. I cannot get over the wonderful, wonderful, blissful feeling of having a great bag. I love it. A great, genuine leather purse just makes me happy. The shape, the stitching, the hardware, all of it, how it feels. But here's the thing. I've never been someone who buys luxury fashion. I grew up in the Midwest. I'm practical, I'm sensible. I'm the person who says, that money can go somewhere else that really makes more sense, right? And more responsible. And I still believe being responsible with money. That's definitely a principle that I honor all the time. But on my very first trip to Paris, I had this little dream tucked away. I wanted to go to the Chanel store, not just any Chanel store, but the Chanel store in Paris. I know there's many, which I found out, but just to be able to shop there and buy my very first Chanel something or other was very important to me. Now, before I went on the trip, I'd done my research. I read blogs, I watched videos on YouTube, and I looked online. Like I really was doing some research on this because this is an investment. And I quickly realized that the bags that I was interested were wildly expensive, like beyond what I understood. So even before I touched down in Paris, I made the sensible decision I was not going to buy a purse. Just, I was going to buy something small, something that would be a reminder of the trip, but I was not going to buy the bag. Maybe a brooch, I thought, or a coin purse, something meaningful but reasonable. That was my plan. And then I walked into the store. Oh gosh, everything was so beautiful. The displays, the bags, the women that were there trying things on, the whole entire experience. It even smelled good and they served champagne. Like I got dressed up for this. This was like a big deal. I was blissed out, completely blissed out. And I took my time. I walked around like I'd been there 100 times before. Like I belonged there. And honestly, that's very important because sometimes we have to practice standing in the energy of the woman that we are becoming. to act as if, to act as if we belong, as if we are allowed, as if beauty and joy and possibility are not reserved for other people. So I looked at the brooches. They're so beautiful. They were so beautiful. And I'm a daughter of a jeweler. So at the end of the day, as beautiful as they were, I could not wrap my head around the price tag of buying something that wasn't real gems. It just made no sense to me. So I moved on to the coin purses because they were so adorable. They're like these little, like the stitching, the leather, the size, everything about them was just absolutely adorable. And I loved it. But then I thought, would I really hide this gorgeous Chanel item inside of another bag? So I looked at the mini purses. Now, the mini bags, they were darling, like little pieces of chocolate, tiny, beautiful, exquisite little things. Oh my gosh. So I looked at them and I tried it on. My phone didn't fit in it. My phone wouldn't fit in the purse. So that's a problem. So then I asked the daring question, do you have anything just a little bit bigger? And out she came. Ah, the black leather, the gold hardware, the double C clasp. I mean, oh, the beautiful chain and a new gold handle on the top. She had just come out as part of the new collection. And I knew right then and there I was in trouble. I knew it. I stood there holding her, and all the practical thoughts come rolling into my mind like, this is not sensible. This is not necessary. I should just put the bag down right now and buy the coin purse. Be sensible. But then another thought hit. I have waited 54 years for this moment to be in Paris for the first time inside the Chanel store and holding this beautiful, gorgeous bag. There would never be another first time. And I had no idea when I was going to be back in Paris. So in that moment, I said, all right, I'm just going to buy the bag. And I did. And you know something? I have never looked back. I've never regretted it. Now, let me be very clear. If buying the bag means that you can't pay for your bills, or you can't buy groceries, or you can't take care of your family or meet your responsibilities, then don't buy the bag. This is not that lesson. This is not about being reckless. It's not about spending money that you don't have. This is not about confusing impulse with intuition, okay? The lesson here is sometimes a meaningful moment crosses your path and it doesn't fit neatly into a practical box, but it still matters. As women, we're often trained to justify everything, why we need it, why it makes sense, why it's useful, why it benefits someone else. But joy does not always come with a spreadsheet. Sometimes joy is just joy. Sometimes it's a memory, and sometimes it is a symbol. Sometimes it's a reminder that you're still here, you're still growing, and you're still allowed to experience beauty and delight. And that matters. So, this is the part I really want you to hear. Women are very good at delaying joy. We say, oh, I'll do it when the kids are older, or when I lose the weight, or I'll do it when work slows down, or when I have more money. I'll do it when everyone else is okay and settled, and I'll do it when it makes more sense. And yeah, sometimes timing matters, but sometimes we use timing as a way to keep postponing our own life, especially in midlife. Because in this season, many women have decades of being responsible, raising children, being a good spouse, building your careers, managing your house. I mean, it goes on, right? So at some point, though, your own needs get quiet because you've been putting them on the back burner for so long. It's just very, very quiet. And then, but they're not gone. Something can wake them up quietly. A trip, a dream, a conversation with a friend, a birthday or a life change in some moment, or a moment in a store in Paris when you realize, I still want things, I still have dreams, I still want beauty. I still want adventure. And I still want to feel alive. That's not selfish. That's just information. Joy is information. Excitement is information. And sometimes the thing you want is not frivolous. Sometimes it's a signal that there is still more life in you. So here's the question. What is your version of the Chanel bag? And it may have nothing to do with buying something. Maybe your version of the bag is taking a trip. It's signing up for the class. It's changing your hairstyle. It's starting the business. It's booking the photo shoot, saying yes to the invitation, or giving yourself space just to rest. It's finally taking your dream seriously. And it's admitting with permission that you want more. More joy, more beauty, more freedom, more meaning, more life. And maybe other people don't understand it, and that's okay. It doesn't have to mean something to someone else. It just has to mean something to you. Because when we talk about designing your next decade, we're not just talking about goals and productivity and checking boxes. We're talking about creating a life that actually feels like yours. That's a big part of what we do inside Beyond by Emerge Positive. We ask better questions. We ask, what do I want? What have I been postponing? Where have I been playing small? And what would it look like to move forward with more clarity, more confidence, and more support? Because your next decade should not be built just around obligation. It should include joy and beauty. It should include moments that remind you that you're alive. So here's the simple reset for this week. Ask yourself, where am I delaying joy because I'm waiting for it to make perfect sense? Where am I delaying joy because I'm waiting for it to make perfect sense? Then ask, what would giving myself permission look like? Maybe it doesn't mean buying it today. Maybe it means starting to save for it or planning for the trip. Maybe it means putting the class on your calendar or having the conversation. Maybe it simply is admitting to yourself that you want this. That alone can be powerful because you can't create a life that you love if you won't even tell yourself the truth about what you want. This is also why I created the reset. This is the free 10-minute download that will be a curated morning routine for you that you choose for you. That is what you enjoy doing. That is just 10 minutes to help bring you clarity and calm and more in touch with that inner voice, more in touch with the woman that you are becoming. You'll begin to start noticing what actually matters to you. So if your mornings have been really rushed or scattered or reactive, you can download the reset at emergepositive.com. It's free. Take advantage of it and start doing your 10-minute routine tomorrow. So here's the lesson from Paris. Life is short, not in a scary way, in a wake-up way. And yes, things are just things. People matter more, relationships matter more, health, love, purpose, and connection. They all matter more. But sometimes a thing becomes more than a thing. Sometimes it becomes a memory or a marker, a reminder that says, I was there. I choose joy. And I let myself have that moment. I stopped waiting. And that's what the Chanel bag became for me. Not just a purse, a reminder to live, to enjoy the journey, to stop postponing joy until everything makes sense. So this week, I want you to think about what your version of the Chanel bag is. What are you ready to stop postponing? What have you been dismissing as silly, impractical, or too much? And what would happen if you gave yourself permission to take one small step toward it? Because you're not just here to get through your life. You are here to live it fully, beautifully, and with intention. And maybe with a fabulous bag on your arm while you're doing it. Thank you so much for being with me today. I hope you had fun with this one because I know I did. And remember, you can emerge positive. I'll see you next week.